I went into the disclosure day knowing absolutely nothing about Spielberg's previous Alien movies. And let me tell you, when I left the theater, I was actually suspicious of my own government. So let's put some disclosure on that. What's going on, everybody? It's TheBainsMode. Today we are reviewing Spielberg's Disclosure Day that came out in 2026. It's the new Spielberg Alien film. Now, full disclosure, before I start commenting on what the movie was about, I personally have not seen any other Alien Spielberg movies before. I know, I can feel the disappointment straight from the screens. We'll get to my cinematic crimes later, trust me. But I sat through the second half of the film. I have never seen a theater go dead silent. Everybody was sitting like this, and I'll tell you why. For me, it was 4 out of 5 stars. But before I begin, spoiler ahead, because we will be talking about certain plot points in the film. The pitch of the movie is simple and quite straightforward. It's exactly what the title of the movie says. It's the Disclosure Day, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It is the full reveal and the truth about the extraterrestrial life, the extraterrestrial forms, and it questions the existence of aliens from the early 1900s. The movie is actually obsessed with one question. How would we as humans actually react if tomorrow it was revealed with distinct proof that aliens have been walking among us since the early 1950s, and the governments knew all about it and they covered it quite well? The movie is actually 2 different movies stapled together. The first half tackles the action chase sequences, but it builds up the premise, what the main protagonist is trying to do. The second half is my favorite. That is the actual disclosure part. And that part is what we have to talk about the most, and we will talk about in this review. The first half is action sequence, like I said before. It's chase sequences, big set pieces, people running from government, people running from private contractors. It's the typical Spielberg chase sequences that we have seen in different movies that he has done. It's still slick, it still moves, and for the first 45 minutes, it's all built up and the entire premise is laid out in front of you. At first, I thought, oh, okay, it's another action chase sequence. It's another fun action popcorn movie where aliens invade and we somehow end up winning towards the end. Not this one. Right as you feel like the bad guys have caught up to the good guys, the second half drops in, and that's where the entire anchor drops. The action, the chase drops down, and it slowly starts asking you, how would you react if we gave you everything in front of your eyes? If you had distinct, solid proof, how would you react? How would the world react, actually? And I'm not exaggerating when I say the entire theater did go absolutely silent when the second half started and when they actually start disclosing about the alien life. As soon as the second half of the movie starts going, it stops feeling like a movie and it starts feeling more like a documentary. It starts feeling like a study that the government might actually be doing on us by releasing this movie, just to see how we as people, we as humans would react if they actually did a full disclosure. That part is my favorite. And that part actually starts feeling like it might be real. Light spoilers that nothing would ruin your experience or the movie. Here's what makes this alien movie a little bit different from the rest of them, where when an alien invasion occurs in a movie, they treat it like some random Tuesday that, hey, no big deal, there's a big alien ship out in the sky. Good guys defeat the bad guys, they shoot down the spaceship, they kill the alien evades, and then you roll the credits, right? That's the typical alien movie genre. This one, however, refuses to reuse the same alien formula. It grounds it in reality. It asks you to go back and question and revisit the conspiracies that happened. It heavily leans on actual footages that's been going around on the internet, and even it heavily relies on footages that were officially released by US military, the Pentagon, and handheld footages all around the world that were sort of taken off from the internet. I'm sure you might have heard about them, where there were rumors about certain bodies that were extracted from a certain UFO crash that happened, and it asks what if they were real, and what if they had proof on video, and what if all of this was real. The movie actually sits in this idea of what if all of it was real. What if the main belief that all of us as humans have, that human beings are the most precious creation, it challenges that belief, and it even nods on the same belief that human beings are the most precious thing, not in the universe, but on Earth. What happens when you learn you're not alone and maybe not even special? Then it does the thing that nobody actually does in most of the alien movies. It shows you that not every alien life might be hostile. They might actually be us from the future, or a different alien life that's intelligent enough that it might not be even here to hurt us. It might actually be here to help us move forward and help us unify in a sense that we don't end up destroying ourselves. Now that part was the movie angle, right? But now comes the distinct actual conspiracy part. And as soon as that happened, I actually leaned forward. And that's where the dots started connecting. Now I'm sure some of you may have heard about the scientist Amy Eskeridge and the 14 other scientists that ended up being dead in the last, not even a decade, the last 5 years. Now the conspiracy is they ended up being dead because they knew too much. They were involved in certain reverse engineering experiments. They knew about the P-48s and the P-52s. Those of you who do not know what that is, I'll let you see this video that was released during a last interview done with Amy Eskeridge.
So the ultra terrestrials, I'll just tell you, they're us from the future. They're from here. They are you. They are me. They're from here, from the future. Have you heard of the P-52s and the P-47s? Do you know what that is? P-47 is present plus 47,000 years. P-52 is present plus 52,000 years. And basically there's a calamity, right? So there's like a apocalypse scenario in the near future. It wipes out most of like everything, man. And there's the ones that go underground and survive, right? And then there's the ones that somehow stay on the surface and miraculously don't die.
The film specifically floats around the idea that aliens aren't evading at all. They are basically walking amongst us. They are working with the people in power for all countries, for all governments, and that's how technology is being progressed forward. The movie plays around with this idea and keeps building upon it and never skips a beat, and it shows you how certain tech that's been reverse engineered has been around since forever. There's also a conspiracy theory that the AI that we all use these days, this has been around since the 1990s or something, because there's been a lot of leaked photos that have been found where it's blatant use of AI, where the pictures in the background are a little fuzzy, because we all know the first generations of AI had some troubles generating images right. And it basically plays around the idea that a lot of alien tech has been going around since forever. Now the part where I have been the most honest with myself and with you guys is that for Spielberg, I have not seen all of his alien movies, and I haven't seen his entire catalog. But one of my friends has, and he had thoughts that Spielberg basically recycled the same formula he used in E.T. and Closed Encounters. And if that's true, that means Spielberg is reaching around his own creative blocks and picking stuff that worked in the past for different movies. And these different ideas he somehow packaged into one and shipped it together, which we all know today as Disclosure Day. And I can't argue much with that premise that he reused his formulas from previous movies, because I haven't seen them personally, so I can't comment on that. My Spielberg resume is mostly Catch Me If You Can, Ready Player One, Jurassic Park, and my personal favorite, Minority Report, which basically means I experienced a reborn film that was intermixed from his previous formulas, but for me it was a first-time experience. So for me it was a completely fresh take on aliens. So with this in mind, it turned out to be a masterpiece for me, but for my friend it was mostly a 2 out of 5 star, because it's an old reused formula that he has done on his previous movies. The other small nitpick that I have personally is the first half of the movie, where the action sequences somehow felt in certain scenes a little bit flat. And it's a very small nitpick, because how good the second half is, it overshadows the first half. Alrighty, so what's the final verdict? The final verdict is a solid 4 out of 5 stars. It loses a point because it's 2 movies, 2 films in one trench coat, as my friend suggested, because he has seen the Spielberg movies. It leaves me in a position where I have to go back, and at certain point I have to watch E.T. and Close Encounters and then compare my review again. Or review my review again. But personally, the second half alone is worth the ticket in the theaters, to be honest. And I totally bet you that there's gonna be a certain moment in the second half where you would lean forward. The movie's for anyone who likes science fiction grounded in reality, UFOs, conspiracy theories, and the entire disclosure that can lead you up into going into a rabbit hole right after the movie. I already went down the rabbit hole way before this movie ever came about, so I know there were certain aspects by certain influencers that had strong evidence that Spielberg was forced to make this movie by the government, where they wanted to do a sort of an experiment on how us general public would actually react if, let's say, they try to do Disclosure Day in the near future. And I'll add in just a touch more conspiracy part to not to the movie itself, but to this notion that if this was in fact an actual experiment just to see how we would react, then those of you who know about Project Bluebeam, this part where they test out how a certain soft launch through a movie just to see how the general audience would react, this is just one of the steps of Project Bluebeam. Those of you who do not know what that is, definitely go look it up. It's a completely entire rabbit hole on its own. And I'll leave you guys with one thought. This thought hasn't left me since I've seen the movie itself, and that thought is, what if this was in fact a soft launch, a test, someone trying to mass a soft launch to something that they are planning already, and if the numbers tip towards that we would be more dormant towards the full disclosure, because everybody is so distracted these days. We have an attention span of not even a goldfish. And once they decide that we are dormant enough, they will go ahead with Project Bluebeam announcement. All right, that's it for today. That's the TheBainsMode take on the Disclosure Day. And if you have seen E.T. or Closed Encounters before, and you want to tell me how uncultured I am that have not seen these classics, the comment section is all yours. After you see the movie, make sure you drop your rating in Letterboxd. You can follow me on Letterboxd, and feel free to use the comment section to comment your favorite alien movie, or if you end up seeing Disclosure Day in theaters, feel free to comment out which part specifically vibrated the most with you. And all the rant that I just did for the conspiracies, for aliens, the governments, and all of that, if that made you even slightly suspicious of how we are being manipulated, and if it made you slightly suspicious of the skies, you know what to do. Go ahead and follow my YouTube channel, my Instagram. All of my social media links are down in the description. Like, follow, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.